Pro Wrestling Podcast listeners, welcome to the show where we don't sing it, we bring it. Help us out and click subscribe to show your support. Don't forget to click the bell so you're notified every single time a new episode drops of the Pro Wrestling Podcast. Guys, are you sick and tired of dropping $60 to $100 for the latest and greatest wrestling video game? Stop immediately. Go to Wrestler Unstoppable, available exclusively through Facebook. Create a wrestler, sign contracts, get involved in storylines, headline pay-per-views, even build your own corporation, all included in Wrestler Unstoppable, available now to all Facebook users totally free. If you want to become a member of the Pro Wrestling Podcast family, you want your name in a shout out, check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/Pro Wrestling Podcast. Sign up today. We have loyalty rewards. $15 a month contributors get to co-host a live episode with myself. $7.50 a month contributors get to enter into a drawing to also host a live episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Pro Wrestling Podcast. If you have questions, comments, anything you want us to touch on in the future episode, drop us a line at the Pro Wrestling Sound Off line at 267-642-1160, and we'll get to those conversations in a upcoming episode. Don't forget to check out our homepage at prowrestling.com, where you can see everything that we've contributed to the show since its beginning almost 4 years ago. Thank you to all of our loyal listeners who've been with us all along. A couple of topics to get to tonight. First, we're going to kick off with some sad news. Superstar Billy Graham in the hospital, posting on Facebook a somewhat saddening post. He is in the Mayo Clinic being checked out and being held because he has atrial fibrillation issues with his heart. We wish nothing but a speedy recovery to Superstar Billy Graham, sometimes considered to be somewhat of a controversial character, says a lot of outlandish stuff from time to time, but at the end of the day, a generally good guy. If you've ever met him at a convention or anything like that, always willing to talk to his fans and really give a great experience. So get well fast, Superstar. He was long before his time. Another situation I want to get to right away, WWE having issues with wrestlers wanting to get their releases or not re-signing with the company once their contracts come due. And the latest superstar being mentioned is Gran Metalik. He apparently has asked for his release from his contract, not doing a whole lot with, being a part of the tag team. The Lucha House Party has been done to death. It's time to move on. And I think everybody in WWE right now who has a contract coming up soon seems to all think they want to migrate to AEW. The reality is All Elite Wrestling can't bring everybody in. They only have so much programming time, and as much of a billionaire as Tony Khan is, he's a smart businessman. He can't hire everyone. And right now it seems like that seems to be the mentality of a lot of these wrestlers. Now, he does have a history of wrestling in CMLL in Mexico. He signed with WWE in 2016, but Fightful Select is reporting that he has asked for his release, and it sounds like that could be a serious situation. It's starting to trend with many wrestlers. We've heard about Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, obviously Adam Cole, Daniel Bryan, all these guys either leaving when their contracts run out or asking to be released. And then you couple that with all the people WWE has intentionally released, and it really makes for an interesting market when it comes to talent and seeing who ends up where. AEW also in the news for being on the brink of introducing some new championships. Andrew Zarian of the Mad Men podcast noted on Twitter that he's hearing that there is going to be a new championship introduced for AEW. It is going to be focused on the women's division, and hypothetically speaking, would be a female tag team championship. I think that's something they could probably do very well with. They have a lot of female talents on the roster, but seem to focus the majority of their energies on Britt Baker and on Thunder Rosa and people of that nature, which is understandable with their star power and their draw. But you have a lot of other people that are on the roster who could contribute in a bigger way, and giving them a piece of championship opportunity is probably a good thing. Getting to the more serious things of the night. One, Vince McMahon, the conversation about taking over NXT 2.0, the brand. Not that he's going to be there in the day-to-day functioning, but he's going to seriously be more hands-on with the brand than he has been in the past. With Triple H being out with his heart situation, we don't know what the whole process is going to be top to bottom, but what they are reporting on Fightful Select is that he is planning to have more colorful language, that he is looking to cut out some of the restrictions on content and creating an edgier product. And if you look at this is just speculation, but it's almost as though WWE has seen AEW come out with a lot of the profanity and the more realistic storylines, almost like WCW prior to them going out of business, and that appeals to a large segment of the audience. Let's be honest, I'm not trying to be mean here and stereotype, but a lot of young folks these days are into electronic devices, video games, computers, and all that kind of stuff, especially with so many of them being home from school, being treated to a smorgasbord of Chromebook and laptop education, that they're all into the digital world now, and getting up and going to a wrestling event is not the most exciting thing in the world to them anymore. And the people who are driven to go to those events are somewhat of the 18 to 34 crowd who have been into it for a longer period of time, and people my age, up in the late 30s, 40s, and older, who are around for the WWE, WCW days. So seeing McMahon wanting to put out an edgier product almost flies in the face of everything he said since they became a publicly traded company, and looks like it's a direct response to AEW being an edgier product themselves. And I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing for WWE from a corporate standpoint, but I believe from a profitability standpoint, it could offer some interesting opportunity for WWE to start pulling in some viewers, the people who enjoy that edgier product. And let's be honest, I understand Raw and SmackDown because they're on major network television, giving a more family-friendly product, but it is a professional wrestling show, no matter what WWE wants to call it. And that means choreographed fighting. It's like a glorified video game. So if you're going to integrate something like that, it's acting like the verbiage is somehow going to corrupt minds, but the fighting isn't, is kind of hypocritical. I think they need an edgier product, and I think they've needed that for a long time. And the big thing of the night is Alexa Bliss, her segment on Raw. Dave Meltzer reported on Wrestling Observer Radio that there were potentially 1,500 fans who got up and walked out during the Charlotte Flair Alexa Bliss segment. Now, Alexa Bliss, she responded to Dave Meltzer on Twitter, and she said, "Sorry, Dave, you can't get clout off our segment. Move on, stop lying. Hashtag literally didn't happen. Hashtag you're embarrassing yourself." Now, look, I wasn't at Raw. I don't know what happened. But if there is any truth to the rumor that fans are literally getting up and walking out of a show, that is something WWE has to take very seriously and get a handle on immediately. You cannot be producing a show that gets people to, that's supposed to be there till 11, and maybe even a dark match main event, and have people leaving at 10 o'clock at night. If that actually happened, massive issue. WWE needs to address their booking immediately. If it didn't happen, Dave Meltzer needs to go pound sand. The guy has caused more trouble lately than he's helped. So we'll have to see how that plays out. That's all the time we have for this episode. Check back with us next episode where we'll run down the latest wrestling news and rumors. Special thanks, as always, goes out to bensound.com and purpleplanet.com that produces all of the music or sound effects we use. Today's show is sponsored in part by Beazle Games. Bringing a new friend to family game night is easy with sketchy people. Showcase your artistic side in this game from Beazle Games by going to frowrestling.com and clicking the icon in the middle of the screen to pick up your copy today. If you're looking for your next career move, or you're considering college, university life, or you just need some formal training for your next career decision, go to our sister website at frolifeplanning.com for all your higher education needs, as Fro Life Educational Planning is for today, for tomorrow, and for life with Fro Life. I'm Fred Froelich, better known as Dr. Fro. I want to thank you for taking a few moments with us today, and if you're looking for more wrestling news and rumors, check back next time where we'll take care of all those on our next show. Take care, everybody. Have a great night.